Porcupine fish. The porcupine fish looks harmless as it swims slowly through warm tropical waters, so why do most other fish leave it alone? When it is threatened, the porcupine fish becomes more than a mouthful.
Adaptations. Porcupine fish cannot swim very quickly, but they can move easily in all directions. This ability to steer so well helps porcupine fish feed on such tricky things as sponges, corals, sea urchins, and mollusks.
Porcupine fish have special mouths. Their teeth are formed into a small beak that can crack open shells and bite between spines. If you are close enough to a porcupine fish underwater, you can hear it crunching.
Porcupine fish use their pectoral fins to paddle through the water. The large muscles that power these fins give porcupine fish their globe-shaped bodies.
Pufferfish. The pufferfish is one of the most poisonous fish in the sea. Like its relative the porcupine fish, the puffer inflates its body when it is threatened.
A single bite of the wrong part of some pufferfish can cause rapid death. Still, special chefs in Japan spend many years learning how to prepare fugu, or pufferfish. There are about 120 kinds of pufferfish. Some have spines that stick out when the fish inflates, but most have smooth skin. Many kinds of pufferfish have bright colors that warn enemies how dangerous it is to attack them.
Plankton. Have you ever floated in an ocean or lake on a raft? Did you know that right beneath you, billions of tiny creatures were floating around too? These creatures are called plankton, which means wandering in Greek. Plankton spend most of their lives just floating around.
Most plankton can't swim. They drift through the water, carried by currents. Plants and animals. There are two kinds of plankton, phytoplankton, or plant plankton, and zooplankton, or animal plankton. By looking into a small amount of water with a microscope, you can see hundreds of these creatures.
Phytoplankton. The word phytoplankton means wandering plants. Phytoplankton stay in the top part of the water where sunlight gets through. Most have only one cell. Diatoms are the most common type of phytoplankton. Diatoms come in hundreds of different shapes. They have a box-like skeleton that divides in half to reproduce. Most diatoms live in the cold Antarctic water, which is full of minerals. Phytoplankton include many types of algae. Diatoms, for instance, are golden algae. Large numbers of blue-green algae or green algae may turn a lake green.
Some kinds of bacteria and fungi are considered plankton.
Zooplankton. The word zooplankton means wandering animal. Zooplankton live in both surface and deeper waters.
Copepods outnumber all other animals in the oceans. With their hard shells and bodies divided into separate parts, they look like tiny shrimps or lobsters. Their bodies are transparent unless they have just eaten.
Unlike many kinds of plankton, the arrowworm lives its entire life as plankton. Arrowworms live in every ocean and eat other zooplankton.
Many organisms, such as this young fish, spend only part of their lives as plankton. They look quite different from how they will when adult. Most of them are transparent, which helps them avoid being seen by predators in the shallow, well-lit water. Many plankton power. The tiny phytoplankton are the beginning of a food chain, a huge network of plants and animals that eat smaller plants and animals. A food chain shows how the very biggest animals depend on the tiniest plants and animals for their very lives.
Baleen whales swallow millions of tiny krill and other plankton. Even though they are so huge, they get all the energy they need from eating plankton.
Like all plants, phytoplankton use the energy from sunlight, a gas called carbon dioxide, and salts to make food. These single-celled organisms can carry on the same basic activities as the tallest trees, but they don't need roots or leaves. They can draw in light, water, and vitamins through their outer surfaces. Zooplankton feed on phytoplankton. In turn, zooplankton are eaten by bigger zooplankton and other animals.
Red tides. When some kinds of plankton multiply quickly, they turn the water red or brownish. This is called a red tide. Most red tides are harmless, but some can kill large numbers of fish, shellfish, and other water animals.
Poisonous red tides are caused by a few kinds of dinoflagellates. Dinoflagellates are golden algae. They have two flagella, long whip-like tails that they use to move around.
Sharks. Sharks have been on the earth for 350 million years, and they have hardly changed in all that time. With excellent hearing, razor-sharp teeth, and a perfect shape for speed, the shark is still the most feared fish in the sea. Humans and other sharks are its only predators.
You might see a dolphin's dorsal fin when the animal is swimming or playing in the waves. A dolphin's fin is crescent-shaped. Shark. A shark's fin cuts the water surface as the shark circles before attacking. It is more triangular than a dolphin's fin. Don't mix them up.
Kinds of sharks. There are about 350 kinds of sharks, and new species are still being discovered. They have a wide range of habits and habitats. Some live in coastal waters, while others live far out at sea. They are found from the ocean's surface to its depths.
The eyes and nostrils of the hammerhead shark are on the lobes of its head. Hammerheads prey on stingrays and are unharmed by the poison in their spines. The harmless whale shark cruises slowly through the tropical oceans. It eats by filtering tiny floating animals, plankton, from the water. It is a peaceful creature, although at 50 feet, 15 meters long, it's the biggest fish of any kind.
Boneless fish. Unlike most other kinds of fish, sharks and their relatives, the rays, do not have bones. Their skeletons are made of a tough, flexible substance called cartilage.
Your body contains cartilage too, in your joints, where it holds your bones together, in your nose, and in your ears.
Another difference between sharks and other fish is that many sharks give birth to live young. The eggs hatch inside the mother. Some kinds of sharks, however, lay their eggs in egg cases, like the one in this picture. Hunting machines. The great white shark is the largest fish that hunts. Most great whites are about 21 feet, 6.4 meters long, but some are as long as 35 feet, 10.6 meters. The great white shark eats any kind of meat, alive or dead, and often swallows its prey in one gulp.
Nose. People once thought that sharks had a sharp sense of smell and could detect blood in the water from a great distance. Scientists no longer think this is true. Instead, they think sharks are good at finding their prey because they hear very well and can detect tiny amounts of electricity that animals give off.
Teeth. A shark has many rows of teeth with serrated or notched edges for tearing flesh. As the shark grows, the teeth move from inside the mouth to the outside edge. When the teeth wear away or break off, they are replaced by the teeth behind.
Skin. Shark skin is covered with placoid, or tooth-like scales. It rips whatever it touches.
Dorsal fin. Pectoral fins. Two stiff pectoral fins help balance the shark's body in the water. A shark cannot swivel its fins to stop quickly. It must veer to one side instead.
Tail. The shark's swimming power comes from its tail. The large upper part drives the tail down with each stroke and helps keep the shark's body level. Otherwise, the creature's weight would cause the head to tilt down. Sharks have to keep moving or they sink. The great white shark travels more than 300 miles, 483 kilometers, in a day.
Dorsal fin. Dorsal fin.
Dorsal fin.
Tropical fish. Tropical fish live in the tropics, areas of warm, clear water where coral reefs grow. They come in many colors and patterns. Some markings make the fish more noticeable. Others help the fish hide in bright corals and anemones. How many fish can you find in the reef?
Reefs. Most tropical fish live in or around tropical reefs. Reefs give protection and food to thousands of fish. Off-reef floor. Flat, sandy areas around a reef are created by plant-eating fish. The fish don't want to move too far from the reef because predators such as this sand diver lie in wait under the sand. Reef flat. Behind the main reef, there may be a protected area called a reef flat. Often a reef flat is made up of a lagoon or inlet with small reefs in the middle of it. Fewer fish inhabit a reef flat than the main portion of the reef. The reef flat does not have many places to hide from predators.
Reef surface. The top of the reef is usually shallow and rough with waves. This reef surface is home to many poisonous fish, like the stonefish.
Reef drop-off. Reefs often end like cliffs. Below these steep drop-offs, large predators such as sharks wait for fish to stray from the reef. Reef face. Most tropical fish live in the part of the reef called the reef face. They hide in cracks and crevices in the coral, or swim in large groups called schools for protection. This butterfly fish can dart quickly into a crevice to escape a predator. Its long snout can poke into even smaller spaces to get food.
Tropical types. There are so many types of tropical fish that scientists often group them by how they eat. If you have a tropical fish tank, it is very important that you do this too. Some tropical fish eat plants. They eat algae growing on coral and keep the area around the reef free from seagrass. Damselfish often keep little gardens of algae, which they guard vigorously. Parrotfish gang up and invade the gardens of the damselfish. Some fish cruise around the reef trying to sneak up on smaller fish. Jacks make high-speed rushes. Groupers, colored like the reef background, hide in the reef and dash out at unsuspecting fish. Squirrelfish wait until it's dark and then attack their prey while the prey is sleeping. The squirrelfish's red color is almost impossible to see in dark waters. Some fish cruise around. The bodies of some tropical fish are specially shaped to help them hunt. Goldfish use their feelers to find food. Predators, such as eels and trumpetfish, search out holes in the coral with their long, thin bodies. Relationships. Among the millions of inhabitants of the tropical reefs, fish and other animals have developed special relationships that help them survive.
Mimicry. The fish in this photo is a moray eel. Morays are such fierce hunters that most fish stay away from them and from anything that looks like them. Some harmless fish are protected from predators because they have the same color pattern as the moray. This color copying is called mimicry.
This peppermint goby is cleaning a brain coral. Wrasses and gobies work as cleaners for many sea creatures. They eat parasites and even bits of loose skin from other fish. Fish line up and wait to be cleaned. It feels like a massage to them. Symbiosis. The clown anemone fish and some kinds of anemones live together in a way that helps them both. Such a way of life is called symbiosis. The clownfish hides inside the stinging tentacles of the anemone to be safe from predators. In turn, the clownfish shares its food with the anemone.
Snorkeling. The best way to see tropical fish is to go snorkeling in a reef. Floating along the surface of the water, you will be amazed at what you see and hear. If you listen closely while your head is underwater, you can hear parrotfish munching coral with their beak-like mouths.
To go snorkeling, you need a mask and a snorkel, a large bent tube that you can breathe through. Fins, or flippers, can help you move through the water more easily. To go snorkeling, jellyfish. A jellyfish is not a fish made out of jelly. A jellyfish is not a fish at all. It is a soft balloon-shaped animal that lives in the water. Its body is filled with jelly-like stuff called mesoglea. The mesoglea gives the jellyfish its shape and keeps it afloat. Aurelia jellyfish float on the surface of the ocean, carried around by the wind and the water. Sometimes there's so many that the ocean appears to be made of them. After a storm, beaches are often covered with these harmless jellyfish. Medusa. The body of a jellyfish has a special form called a medusa. It's bell-shaped, with tentacles and a mouth hanging down like the ringer in a bell. If a fish touches a jellyfish's tentacles, the stinging cells on the tentacle are triggered into action. Stinging cells contain tiny, hollow, coiled-up threads that shoot out and inject poison into the jellyfish's prey. The poison paralyzes the prey, so the jellyfish can draw the prey into its mouth without a struggle.
If you've ever been stung by a jellyfish, you know that some jellyfish can hurt people too. Most stings leave a rash that burns or itches a little, but eventually goes away. Putting vinegar on a sting like this helps it feel better. However, the sting of some jellyfishes, such as the sea wasp, can kill a person. You should never touch a jellyfish, even if you find a dead one on the shore.
Sea anemones and corals are relatives of the jellyfish. They have a body form called a polyp. A polyp is anchored to the ground. Some jellyfish spend part of their lives as polyps.
The clear bell of the jellyfish is its body. It has 2 layers of cells, with a layer of mesoglea between them. A jellyfish has no bones or head. Its mouth, stomach, and reproductive organs are in the center of the bell. The bell can be smaller than a pea, or as much as 12 feet, 3.6 meters in diameter. Movers and drifters. Some jellyfish spend their lives floating on the surface of the water. They are carried around by wind and tides. Other jellyfish move themselves. They look like umbrellas closing as they squeeze their bodies and push out water. A special case. A Portuguese man-of-war looks like a giant jellyfish, but it's actually a colony of hundreds of polyps and medusae. Some polyps form the floating bell, others bear the stinging tentacles, and still others digest the prey and pass the nutrients to all the cells in the colony. Some of the medusae reproduce.
The tentacles of some Portuguese men-of-war can reach a length of more than 65 feet, 20 meters. When the polyps with tentacles catch a fish, they work together to paralyze the fish and draw it upward. Polyps digest the food and share it with the entire colony. Sponges. Would you believe that some people use animal skeletons to clean and bathe? You may have too if you've ever used a sponge.
Natural sponges live in water. They can grow to the size of a cow. After drying, the soft parts of a sponge's body break down. The rough skeleton remains.
Most sponges used today are synthetic or man-made. The synthetic sponge feels and looks somewhat like a natural sponge, but it was never alive. Types of sponges. Sponges come in many sizes, shapes, and colors. They live in almost every sea, from shallow water down to 30,000 feet, 9,000 meters deep. Some live in fresh water. Scientists group sponges by the type of skeleton they have.
Sponges, like this Venus's flower basket, are called glass sponges. The spicules of their skeletons make complicated patterns. Glass sponges mostly live in very deep ocean waters. Calcareous sponges usually live in shallow parts of the ocean. The spicules in the skeleton of these sponges are made of limestone.
A sponge's skeleton is not made of bones. It may be a bunch of little sharp spines called spicules, or a web of tough flexible material called spongin. The blue tube sponge shown here belongs to the largest group of sponges, which can have skeletons made of both spicules and spongin. Bath sponges also belong to this group.
A colony of cells. A sponge does not have a head, arms, or organs. It is a colony or group of single cells that live together. Living together helps each cell survive.
Water and waste products leave the sponge through a large hole called the osculum. You can see little movement in sponges except the slow opening and closing of the osculum.
The surface of a sponge has holes called ostia. Water holding the tiny algae and bacteria that sponges eat enters the sponge through the ostia.
Messenger cells live between the two cell layers. They move around delivering and storing food, collecting waste from the other cells, and building the skeleton. The center of a sponge is lined with special cells that move the water and grab food particles that pass by. These collar cells have frills that catch the food, and also special tails called flagella that wave the water around. The basic shape of a sponge is a hollow center surrounded by two layers of cells. The outer cells act like the skin of the sponge. Between the two layers of cells lies the sponge's skeleton. The skeleton helps the sponge stand against moving water and protects it from being eaten.
Reproduction. Sponges have more than one way to make more sponges. They reproduce both sexually, with sex cells, and asexually, without sex cells. Sexual reproduction. Sponges can produce male and female cells that join together to make new sponges. The new sponge starts life as a larva, which floats in the water with the help of long tails called flagella. After a few hours or days, the larva sinks to the bottom and becomes an adult sponge. Asexual reproduction. Pieces of a sponge can break off and become a whole new sponge. Sometimes a sponge grows a special bud that is meant to break off. Sponges can also regenerate or grow back new pieces when a part of the colony has been broken off. Sexual reproduction. Sponges can produce male and female cells that join together to make new sponges. The new sponge starts life as a larva, which floats in the water with the help of long tails called flagella. After a few hours or days, the larva sinks to the bottom and becomes an adult sponge.
A safe hideout. Sponges have very few enemies. Their spicules make them unpleasant to bite, and some sponges also taste bad. Because of this, many small creatures find a safe hideout inside sponges.
More than 16,000 small snapping shrimp have been found in a single sponge. The sponge was about as big as a bathtub. Shrimp that live inside a sponge feed on tiny living creatures carried by the water. Some grow so big they can't get out. Dead end. Sponges are called an evolutionary dead end. They developed early and have no relatives. However, sponges are very successful creatures. They have not changed very much in more than 500 million years.
For many centuries, people were not sure how to classify sponges. Some scientists thought they were plants. Others thought they were animals. Still others thought they were not alive, but something produced by marine animals that lived inside them. Today, sponges are known to be animals and are given the name porifera, or pore bearers.
Sea anemones. Sea anemones are small animals that look like flowers. They cling to rocks, shells, and other hard surfaces on the ocean bottom. Sea anemones are related to corals and jellyfish.
Waiting for food. A sea anemone has a tube-shaped body. One end attaches to a hard surface, and the other end is the sea anemone's mouth. Around the mouth is a ring of wavy tentacles. These tentacles have stinging cells that shoot paralyzing poison into any small sea animal that touches them.
The anemone's tentacles shorten and pull the prey into the mouth. The food passes to the stomach chamber in the body of the anemone, where it is digested. Undigested food passes out later.
Movement. An anemone usually spends its whole life stuck to something. Sometimes, however, it moves. Some sea anemones turn somersaults. They bend over, grab a rock with their tentacles and flip their body over. Some anemones slide along the rocks on their side or move right side up.
Seahorses. Despite its name, the seahorse is actually a fish. It gets its name because its head looks like a horse's head. Take a look.
A seahorse is much smaller than a real horse. Most seahorses are less than 6 inches, 15 centimeters long. The Pacific seahorse is one of the few that grow to 12 inches, 30 centimeters. A seahorse is much smaller than a real horse. Most seahorses are less than 6 inches, 15 centimeters long. The Pacific seahorse is one of the few that grow to 12 inches, 30 centimeters. A seahorse is much smaller than a real horse. Most seahorses are less than 6 inches, 15 centimeters long. The Pacific seahorse is one of the few that grow to 12 inches, 30 centimeters.
Seahorse specials. Seahorses are very different from other fish. Their long tails and flat bodies help them hide in reefs and seaweed where they live.
Most fish use their tails to swim fast. Seahorses use their long tails to grasp sea plants and coral. Very young seahorses often hold on to each other with their tails.
Hard jointed armor helps protect a seahorse's body. The plates and spines also help the seahorse blend in with seaweed.
A seahorse's mouth is shaped like a tube. It works like a straw that the seahorse can use to suck up microscopic animals.
Seahorses swim by rapidly waving their dorsal fins. The fins move back and forth so fast you can hardly see them.
Devoted dads. If you were a seahorse, your dad would have given birth to you. Male seahorses keep the female's eggs inside a special pouch in their bodies until the eggs are ready to hatch. Inside the pouch, the eggs feed on the male's blood and are kept safe from predators.
A female seahorse deposits up to 600 brick red eggs in the male's pouch. The male releases tiny living seahorses after the eggs hatch.